Thanks all for joining. We are ready to start. Today's webinar is about the topic of 14 websites migrated in 12 months from our customer, our media. I'm happy that Azir is joining with me the webinar and tells a little bit from the customer perspective. And we will start the webinar with a quote. Azir, where's that quote from?
Hi everyone. So when we started this migration, a lot of comments around the time it took the in-house team immediate to migrate from the previous Drupal systems was referred. And so our ambition to try and migrate as quick as possible and approximately a year was seen as quite impossible. And well, we'll talk to you later about how we did manage to deliver in that timescale.
Yeah, great. So just for housekeeping, our webinar will last about 45 minutes. We have a few minutes reserved if the talk is longer than expected. And you can post your questions anytime in the Q&A section or simply raise your hand. I will watch it and let you know. So we will have a Q&A section at the end of the webinar. And please stay muted while listening only, so we don't have any background noise, but I guess you're familiar with that since years. So after the webinar, we will send you, of course, the recording, and there you can also have access to the slides that we share. All right, so starting with short introduction. So hi, I'm Benny from Sprylab. I'm co-founder and CTO. I'm responsible in our company for the Purple product and our technology. I have about 19 years of experience in the publishing industry. Before founding Sprylab and building the product Purple, I was a technical manager at Axel Springer, so already collecting some experience about publishing there. And yeah, on the private note, I'm passionate about piano playing and also about football. So I mean the European football. And yeah, actually watching the women's football European Mastership at the moment. So yeah, regarding Purple, we have over 600 brands from over 60 customers across 10 countries. Of course, our home turf is the DACH region, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. But we are also quite strong in the UK, and that's why I'm happy that Azir is with me here from a UK customer, and well, also in countries more far away, like Australia and in the US, but mainly our markets are in Europe, of course. A short introduction of our product for the ones who don't know. Purple is a digital-first CMS with modern capabilities of creating and publishing content. Of course, it's quick and easy to integrate, but also easy to use for the editorial system, easy to learn because it's a very intuitive blog-based editor. We have, but we don't have only the editorial part. We also have the experience part, which means the consumer-facing products, and there we get a framework where you can build your apps and websites on, and have also all other channels connected. Like we have a newsletter module where you can create newsletters, you can publish to social media, and we also can export to print using some print partners that we're connected to our content management system. And between the editorial system and our experience modules, there is also something that we call the content cloud, which is basically a delivery layer. And you can, if you have your own products, like your own website, your own app, you can of course also connect to that layer and yeah, well, get the data from there and build your own consumer-facing products. So that means that our Purple publishing suite is modular, so you can use our editorial system, or you can use our experience, or both in combination, which of course has its benefit. Azir, about you.
Hi, yeah. So I'm Azir. I've got around 21 years of experience in the media industry. Prior to our media and a short stint at Immediate Media, I worked extensively at SWNS and was there at the sort of infancy of the digital sort of acceleration of that sector. In terms of me, I've got roughly the same amount of experience in tech. I've worked in startups, public sector, and sort of public facing. Within the public sector, I did a lot of public facing systems within .gov.uk. And personally, I've got a lot of connections to Bristol. I do a lot of community work, and I really enjoy cooking and sort of formulating my own kind of recipes and being quite experimental with some of my cooking, and have recently done. We did a charity barbecue where we ended up cooking, and I marinated like around about 50 kilos of various different meats, ready to cook en masse on one of the hottest days of the year. And that was a success. We raised a lot of money for charity. It's quite a lot of fun. So that's me.
Cool. About our media.
Is this one's me yet?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We have a variety of titles covering a lot of different disciplines. We do a lot of work in lifestyle content, specialist interest content, and as you can see, we've got a broad range of topics from sports to hobbies, knitting, science, astronomy, genealogy, and various other topics there.
All right. After the introduction, we want to tell you a little bit more about the initial challenge that we faced when we started with our media and how it started. As you will tell you a little bit more about the background about our media and the start of the project.
Sure. So as I joined the talks around separation from Immediate Media to our media becoming its own entity had begun, and the initial challenge was to outline what our strategy would be in terms of moving away from the in-house platform that we had to there was no specific destination, but what could we do? What were those options? What were the strengths and weaknesses of those options? And that's really where the pre-work to the project that decided that we were going to go with Purple as a platform began. And within that were options from off-the-shelf platforms, a completely bespoke solution, a version of what we had, or something completely different that was bespoke. And then the other option was to work with a partner like Purple to deliver our websites and a CMS solution.
Yeah, and basically, when we talked the first time about the situation, we as a development partner, we were seeing that all of the 14 brands were on a proprietary platform, which means that the platform was developed in-house, and we don't, you may know from in-house development, there's not a lot of documentation available, and there's a lot of features built into where it's questionable if they're still used, and so on and so on. So that was the situation that we that we found at the start of the project. So Azir, can you tell us a little bit more about why did you choose Purple for that?
Sure. So with us and where we were as a business, We needed a platform that enabled us to grow digitally, but also allowed us to focus on what we wanted to do. And the other thing is, as a desire internally, we weren't going to spin up a massive tech team. To build a platform of this scale would take an immense amount of developers. It would take, and that was just the core elements of the CMS. And then on top of that, there were the various integrations that would need to be built by developers. So actually, building our own solution was going to be a mammoth task. The benefits of choosing an existing, already off-the-shelf platform that could develop and a partner that could develop those capabilities and those integrations for us was actually very attractive. And also the track record of Purple having supporting a variety of different websites and variety of different solutions, and already doing a multi-brand offering for other publishers in Europe was attractive.
Yeah, and also we talked a little bit about how we want to approach that project and how we would act as a development partner. What was the key points there? Why did you choose Purple as a development partner?
Sure. So what an important factor in choosing a development partner is, can we work with them? Can they deliver what we require? But also how we work with them. And what we found with Purple, and certainly the initial conversations, is that they were going to act as an extension of our in-house team and work collaboratively with us to achieve our objectives. And we found that really beneficial and really that was an important factor for us, that Purple saw our success as their success.
Okay, so then we started the quite ambitious project, and I want to tell you a little bit more about the project itself. So when we started and we had our initial meetings, it was quite simple because we only had really barely two requirements. One is you needed the functionality as is for moving forward, and the migration had to be done as soon as possible. So the timeline was set as to be completed in 12 months. So starting from there, we needed to create some kind of plan for how can we achieve that. And basically, the key advantage of Purple as a platform for doing such a project is that we are having some features built into the platform that really support this kind of migration for a lot of brands, because we have a thing called the master template, which is basically a set of development modules and feature flags and configuration and design settings and everything that you need to build a brand setup, but as a template. So you can basically build a generic, full-featured, fully functional version of some generic brand that you would think of that really is a mixture of all of the other brands. So having all of the features, like for some of the brands you had reviews, for some of the brands you have recipes, for some of the brands you have offers and whatnot. So all the content types and all the front end features and every integration, starting from advertising over tracking, Google Tag Manager, and whatever you can build as a template that serves for all brands. And then you can choose when you really want to, deploy a brand, roll out a brand. Then you can choose from that rich, featureful master which features this brand actually will use when being production. You can change that over the time. So basically for every brand, you can add the features or remove them afterwards. But you basically select what features they will use when you migrate. And Also, then you can override the design, you can override everything that's brand specific, and then you can deploy it. And that makes it really, if you do that in a very, very structured way from the beginning, and the requirements engineering is very very deep and from the start, and you really look into what every brand's doing there, then you can create a master that you can really smoothly roll out for all the brands. And that's basically what we did. We had planned 6 months of development to build the master, to build everything that was in terms of features and front-end features, back-end features, editorial features, there on the proprietary platform, to rebuild it on our platform, and then 6 months of rollout. Well, to be honest, the line in the middle is not as sharp as it is here. So the development for having everything ready for the first brand was 6 months actually, but of course we developed a few features that were really specific for only a few brands already, also after these 6 months. So basically the implementation work took in total about 9 months, but the rollout started after 6. So we kept our timeline. We launched everything in time, which was especially also tricky because we also required to have all the exports from the proprietary platform ready before we launched. There had to be a little bit of time for the editorial team to stop working the old system. Then we need the migration, and then they start again, test. And then we roll out. They needed to have a little bit of time to check if the content really works out on the new platform after migration, and so on and so on. So we had a time slot of 2 weeks per brand for the total rollout process, being the parts of the development, like the implementing the design, adjustment of feature flags and content import and everything, and then also needed a few days of testing, a little bit of time where the editorial system works in both systems, of course, and then finally switching domain at the end of the 2 weeks process. Yeah. And the great thing is that we did in the time, but of course it was a really, really sharp timeline, and then we had to do a lot of effort to met the timeline. So where are we now this year?
So post migration, the results sort of speak for themselves. We've got 14 brand sites running on Purple. It's actually one of the brand sites we didn't migrate, but it was disposed of. So there are actually 13 sites fully running on Purple. But post migration, we had all 14 running. They were working as we expected. There were some tweaks that we needed to do post migration, such as sorting out things like redirects and that kind of thing, and some SEO tasks. But yes, broadly, the website's migrated successfully. The 2-week timeline and the decision to stagger those migrations by 2 weeks worked really well, as did developing some of those specific features that certain sites used in that sort of post 6-month window, post initial 6-month development cycle. So yeah, a good success for us. I think we've got a question, Benny.
Yeah, we got a question. Thorsten.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ask one thing. Did you migrate the website only, or did you migrate the website, the e-paper, and the news app altogether?
Yeah, very good question. So when we started that process, we already had Immediate as a customer prior to that for years. So what you said about e-paper, they have a mixture of digital edition products and e-paper, and they had that already on our platform. So we also have all the brands of Immediate Media on our platform on the app side. For some reason, they choose to not have the news also in the app. The news were only on the website, and for some reason they chose that they're not having the digital edition or the e-paper in the web. So there's a clear separation between the websites and the app, and the apps were already on our platform before. So now the whole ecosystem of the editorial system and the news website and the apps are on our platform. And regarding the future of these products, we will tell something at the end of the webinar.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Little cliffhanger here.
Yep, thank you.
All right. So just on that, one of the opportunities that we did see was what Benny has just said, that we didn't have everything together, but there was an opportunity of having those things together, but more about that a bit later. So just in terms of, how do we quantify the benefits of the migration for us? I'd say that, there was a massive amount of time saving. We've estimated that at least a year in terms of if we were wanting to try and spin up our own product, because the R&D aspects of that and the initial development time would have been significant. At a huge cost saving, so 100K probably doesn't really do it justice, because if we were going to build our own platform, it would have cost us a lot more than that. And also the other thing is that actually with the massive benefit for us of being on a platform is that the support and maintenance and the issues that we have will be common to some of the support and maintenance issues that all the other customers have. So things like routine maintenance, updates to the underlying and core platforms that these technologies are built on, we're sharing the cost of that amongst a number of different customers that Purple have, because that's part of the support and maintenance that they offer to us as a platform. So we're not responsible for those development costs in isolation. We're paying for them as a group of those customers. And I think the biggest benefit to us really is the ability to not have to focus so much on platform development and be working with developers. We do still have changes that we ask Purple to do on our behalf that are very specific to us. But aside from that, the sort of general platform maintenance and those routine tasks, we don't have to be distracted by those, because that's taken care of by the platform, and we can focus on the things that really matter for us, and that is to focus on things that will grow our business and grow our content consumption.
All right, and now that we completed the migration, we now are heading for the innovative part of the whole ecosystem of publishing at our media, basically. And there are two main parts that we're working on at the moment. So one being the digital first transformation, which is quite exciting, because at the moment the production workflow is separated between the print production, which is very InDesign focused and print only, and the digital production of news, which is done in our CMS, the Purple Hub. And there's a process that actually takes the final outcome of the print process, the PDF, and creates the print articles from that PDF, returns them back into our Purple CMS, and creates the digital edition from there by some editorial stuff, enhancing the print articles, cleaning errors from the PDF extraction process, and publishing them in the digital edition apps. And we want to change that workflow, so it all starts in the Purple Hub, and they create the editorial team creates news and edition content in the same space, and treats content as content basically before combining the content for the print magazine into some kind of issue that is published as a digital edition, and then basically exported to print through a print management system. And currently our media is evaluating print management systems and evaluating the new workflows. And of course, there's a lot of benefits in terms of time and efforts that we will cut through that process, because the whole rework of the digital edition can be left out. But also, I think from my personal view, also the quality of the digital products, like the digital edition, will increase, because it is really thought digital first and will have a lot of more engagement than it currently has. So this is the first part of the innovation process that we're undertaking at the moment, and the second part is, and that's related to the questions, the question that you had earlier, Torsten, the news website and the digital edition app is some kind of separation that you as a user wouldn't expect when searching for your favorite brand, like Sky at Night. You would expect that the app also has the news part, and that you also would be able to read the digital edition, or for some brands it's the e-paper, but you would be able to read them in the web. And that's actually one of the greatest benefits of our platform, is that this is already ready to use. So despite the fact that these products are separated for our media at the moment, our media could use it at the moment, vice versa. So they could use the digital edition in web, and they could use the news part in the app. But from a product perspective, of course, you have to think about how does the combined product look like? What is the value proposition for the user? What's the navigation? What is the conversion like? But the benefits are clear. So you would have only one-time maintenance when you combine those two products into one. You would have cross-reading and also conversion triggers for the paid parts of the content. You would have a much higher app stickiness, because the usage frequency would increase. There are some monthly based magazines there where users are reading them once a month. But if you include the news and have a more digital experience of all of that, then the frequency of usage would of course increase. And also, from thinking about having two different user bases and having also two different registered user bases and so on, a unified subscriber base would be also beneficial for cross-selling and everything. So moving those hybrid, or those two parts of the product, into one hybrid product, into a single digital product, I think that increases the value for the users by a lot. So these two parts of the innovation process we're actually currently undertaking. So I'm happy to join Azir tonight. I'm flying to Bristol tonight because we're having a 2 days workshop tomorrow and the day after to exactly talk through the requirements of that, and then start with planning, developing, and deploying these two changes to the product and the organization, because of course the digital first transformation is also has a very big impact on the organization, and that's something that will take a little bit longer, of course, but it will also help to increase the quality of the digital product in the end. So I'm happy that we're now starting this process with our workshops in the next couple of days. So basically, that's it from a slides perspective, and we're happy to join our chat and answer any question that you have. So we're using the Q&A section of the Teams meeting, so you can post your questions there. And I can see that we already have, I think it's 2 questions. I'll try to translate on the fly. So Marcus is asking, does the export of the articles in the email campaign tool still work using the RSS feeds, or do we have a different API yet? So to answer this briefly, we are actually at the end of the development of a new newsletter module in the Purple Hub. So we will have we will release that very soon. So the creation of the newsletter will not be by selecting them for a feed anymore, or you can still use that, of course. But the new way would be to use our newsletter composing tool in the Purple Hub directly. You can preview the outcome of the newsletter in the hub, and you can send the outcome, so basically the HTML newsletter, to your favorite newsletter tool, where you can send it to your audience. We are not replacing the audience management of any of these newsletter tools. So audience management, tracking, reporting, and everything will still be done in the campaign tool, but the composing will not be done anymore on RSS basis, but rather in a composing tool in the Purple Hub. And another question, that's also from Marcus. Do we have any person that can support with SEO? Of course we have. I can give you contact after the webinar. We have a customer success team and development team, so we can support you with SEO. We're not an SEO agency, so it's still good to have some kind of SEO, third-party and SEO analysis to improve on that. But how you can improve based on our product, that's something we can definitely support with. How many editors are concerned by the project? Which other tools had to be connected to grow? Concerned? Okay. Azir, how many editors are affected by the project itself?
I don't know the exact number, but we have so within those 14 brands, there are some brands have multiple editors depending on the size of them. I would say roughly about 30 or so, but we have many people that are concurrently editing and updating on this platform on a regular basis. So I think the license count is more like 80 or 90 contributors into the platform, right? Many. And that number does vary, but concurrently we have multiple people using the platform. And in terms of the other tool that have been connected to Purple, we've connected a PIM, so a Akeneo. We've also integrated some front-end tools, so Discuss. We had done a number of different affiliate integrations. We changed some of those affiliate integrations a few months after we migrated. So we've integrated many tools. I don't think there's been a tool that we have said we can't integrate. So that was the other real benefit from Purple, in that the integration side of things was possible. We've recently integrated with JW Player, and where we're doing some integrations that also integrate with our ad partner, and that's another integration or tool that we did integrate with, is Google Ad Manager.
Well, the Ozone stack,
ads,
right?
Yeah, and the Ozone stack, so that we can serve ads on the platform.
Yeah, I think that was the major integration part, the PIM and Ozone. Yeah. I got 2 questions in advance from the audience, so they're not in the Q&A chat, but I got them here. You said that the Purple partners with various print integration partners. Could you name them and throw some light on the print workflow integration? Well, we have a pretty generic print integration in our Purple DS Hub, so it's pretty easy for us to integrate print partners. We have active partnerships with a handful of of German-based print tools like PPI Media, Tango, Interred, and a few more, I think. And how they work, basically, you, as an editor in our digital content management system, you can either just export it using a button and adding some metadata like what kind of a brand is that for, or what kind of issue is that for, and then it exports to the system, and everything else is done in the print system, and you can of course re-export it whenever you like. And some more advanced integration is that you also choose a layout template, and you can see how that renders actually on the page before you export it, which has the benefit, if your editorial team is able to do that, to really write 2 lines. So you write, basically maybe you create a print variant of that article that already fits to a specific layout that you want to put it on in print. So we have a few integrations that also have that feature that can preview it and see how the text overlaps the template in our system, so you don't have to switch systems to do that. Another question was, how long did it take to get the master templates just right, and what are your most important learnings? Well, I said already it took about 6 months to get the templates right to serve the first brands, and then we had another like 3-month process where we already deployed brands, but we're still working on it. But of course, you have to think of that as a very, very agile project, and that's the most important learning. If the requirement is to build something as it is, of course, that's a bit tricky because some things that were built may not be used anymore. And so that whole process is very agile, and you have to interact and involve the editorial system really from the beginning until the end. And you have to work really closely together and in a really tight partnership, because of course there are many things that will work out differently than expected at the beginning. So that's pretty sure. So that's the key factors for success. So the partnership level, the being able to do it in an agile way and involving the right people from the start. Got another question from Ulrike. Thank you. How is AI integrated in the editorial workflow? Well, our Purple Hub has a feature called Purple Prompts. So that's basically something that every Purple customer can use. It is a module where you can define, you have predefined prompts, but you can also define your own prompts that use the LLMs, so the large language models by GPT, so GPT model or Claude model or whatever, so from various vendors, and they can be used anywhere in the editorial process. Basically, you define what kind of part they should generate data for. Like, do you want to create SEO titles? Do you want to create some other kind of metadata? Do you want to create some kind of summary automatically? You can choose to do that for only a specific content type. You can choose to do that for any content type. You can also define automated workflows, like if you have some kind of use case where you ingest publicly available data and you want to rewrite them in a way that it fits your brand, and you want to check by editors only if the text matches your requirements and then publish it. You can define a semi-automated workflow that does exactly that with AI based on Purple. And yeah, of course, we also have a few other modules like entity recognition, auto tagging, and stuff like that. So we're always happy to demo that. So if you're interested, there is already the sticker on my photo on the slide, so you can have at any time a 3 minutes consultation chat with me, not only about multi-brand but also about AI and editorial workflows, of course. So that's for sure. Yeah, so maybe because there are no more questions in the Q&A chat, I got one question for Azir. Maybe how do you see the publishing process at our media changing in the future? And what do you think does that mean for our media as a company or as an organization, basically?
So, I mean, changing in the future, I'd say it's already changing. So we are much more content focused and looking at what we're wanting to do with the platform in terms of integrating our apps into that single model so that we can publish content and engage with our audiences more and over several different platforms is going to be key for us. Prior to many years back, the primary platform was print, and what we're seeing is the digital side of things increasing and growing. But also the other thing is with the digital side, it's not uniform. So every platform is very different, and having that sort of centralized hub approach to manage those various digital platforms is quite key for us, because otherwise we would be logging in and logging out of various different systems all the time. And the ability to manage that all under one umbrella is actually quite vital for us.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I'm going to ask you a question in return. Benny, you mentioned a key requirement in the project was functionality as is. There's quite a lot in that in terms of actually eliciting what that functionality as is. Because as a business for us, whilst that might sound like one requirement, there's a lot of depth in that. There are many requirements in that. So how did you manage that process?
Yeah, we thought about it in different layers. So one was of course, we had interviews, we had workshops, we met on site for a couple of times with a lot of people from the editorial system and from product. And so basically just trying to get information from wherever possible and really structure this. We had meeting with managers, of course, on the key requirements to also prioritize this. But also on the other hand, we had two chances to really get to the core of the requirements. One is to looking at the product, so looking at your websites, of course, investigating what the website is actually doing from an outside perspective. So getting into the renderings and everything, and also looking at the editorial system. So we got access to the editorial system and looking at the features from an editorial perspective and matching these two worlds, of course, which was a kind of translation process in the end. And on a third level, we also had to look at the data. So we get some kind of backups and looked into the data and saw, okay, what does that mean for the data flow? How's that saved? And also how can we migrate this? So we had it on different levels, technical evaluations, but also, of course, we had very well trained project managers on both sides. So they were able to really structure all of this and get everything nailed down to a really comprehensive requirements model. But of course, it changed over the time. As I said, you have to be really agile to really complete that work. And yeah, we were also questioning a lot of features because they were not really used across the brand. So that was also very helpful from your end to say, okay, that's not really required at the end of the migration. So we can skip that. So being very practical about these decisions made it possible.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I'd just add to that is when we were doing the migrations, whilst some of the features were common across brands, the data behind them was slightly different. So the implementation of those features across brands did vary. And what we have achieved now is a consistent implementation of those features. So if a feature is enabled, it's implemented in the same way across every brand that it's implemented in.
Yeah.
Whereas prior, there were slight different nuances, which actually, from a migration point of view, threw a lot of spanners in the works, so to speak.
Yeah. So one other question from Marcus. Is there a possibility for Purple Prompt to refine a summary of a already generated summary with another prompt? So basically, what you call it is prompt chaining, and we are actually working on that at the moment. Of course, you can already create some kind of longer prompt to do that, but prompt chaining is something we're actually at the moment working on and will be deploying hopefully anytime soon. Good question. All right. Do you have any final question, Azir?
Yeah, I do actually. So for a brand like us, obviously being with a platform like Purple is beneficial because we get the support and maintenance, but also we get the R&D side of things. So from my own personal benefit, but also the audience, what are the important developments that are coming up in Purple in the near future that that would excite customers, existing and potential?
Okay, thank you. Very, very good question. So our strategy is, and that's reflected by our roadmap, is that we're really focusing our editorial part on a digital first editorial experience, and our consumer products on a really innovative products that consumers are excited about. And to achieve that, we're focusing our development basically on a platform model. So meaning on the editorial part, we want to be the digital first editorial system where really your editorial team is working on. You can export in any channel. It's really multi-channel. Print is one channel. So smoothing all the processes around print integrations and everything, that's something that's definitely high up on our priority list. But you also have repeatedly the problem that what you want to solve is efficiency, and efficiency for us is integrating automated workflows and AI together with our platform, and that's one key element that we want to deploy in the course of the next month, is that you're able to build your own automated workflows in the background to achieve things like collecting data, preparing content, scraping mailboxes and everything. So every use case that you can imagine that could be built on a workflow automation can be built on the Purple platform, integrating, of course, with the Purple products like Purple Hub and also the experience, but also integrating to any kind of AI tool that you can use in the middle of that. So we got one very exciting example of a reporter app integrating with Purple based on automated workflows that really creates from the reporter app ready to publish content in our editorial system. And also on the other hand, on the experience side of things, we want to really focus on the news and digital edition parts. We have a roadmap for the digital edition to really become one of the most exciting products in the future that is available as a product that you can build on. And what I mean with platform model, the underlying platform model is that we want to in the future open our tools to really serve as a platform. So any integration partner, any third party, or you as a customer can build your own solutions based on Purple and make them available for others. So currently, most of the work we are doing and some integration partners work, but we want to really open that for a lot of people to contribute to solutions based on the Purple ecosystem. So like any integration that we talked earlier about, like the PIM integration or another ad stack or another tracking tool or whatever, or automated workflows that integrate with external data and use AI, you could provide that as a template for others using Purple and a marketplace that that is to come. So that's basically our strategy that we're working on, and I think that will take us some time to be really on that level, of course. So time that is more than 12 months, I guess, but we're really working hard on that vision, and that's basically our roadmap for the next month as well.
Thank you.
All right, so I think there were some really interesting questions, and I hope that you enjoyed our little webinar. I'm happy that so many of you joined, and yeah, I'm keen to see you all in the near future. If you have any questions, get back to me directly. As the label says, there's always a free 30-minute talk and consultation. And yeah, nice to see you soon. Thanks, everybody, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks and bye.
Bye, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.